Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's at hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. hillsdale.edu/lockedon. And with that, we welcome Aditi Kinkhabwala to the show. How you doing today, Aditi?
I'm great, thanks. A little bit disheveled looking. I apologize. It's been
we can't get over it, Aditi. We got to let you go. Sorry.
All right. Well, that's
Hey, listen, she was like, cut the check.
You don't even look disheveled. I don't know what you're talking about. You look like an active
See you
woman.
next
That's
weekend.
what you look like.
Yeah, right?
I appreciate it.
Never apologize for looking
But
active.
can
Unlike me, who
can I
sits
give
on my
you,
ass all
the
day.
craziest stat, though? Wait, I've
Yeah.
got a crazy stat. So
Yeah.
since week 15 last year, my crew has been on the call for 7 different backup quarterback wins.
In a row? Is that 7 in a row?
No, just since, however many weeks that is.
That's not a lot of
Case
weeks.
Keenum won, CJ Beathard won, Andy Dalton won, Joe Flacco won. This past week, Jacoby Brissett won.
It's
Does
11
Jameis still
weeks.
count as a backup?
Yeah, it's
What?
11 weeks.
What'd you say?
Oh,
What is it that is it something? Is it something? Do you personally inspire the backup quarterbacks to play their best?
Obviously, I am the queen of backup quarterbacks.
You are.
It's about people being written off, and it's like the life story, right?
Yes.
And some of us just kind of get better with age. And so that's what
Yes.
it is. So we can still kind of succeed the further along that we go. It's like fine wines.
I feel like
I
that
relate
at
to
30.
these people.
Feel just like that at 30.
Go away. That doesn't count. 30 doesn't count.
Aditi, what did you think of the Browns? Do you think Jameis could be the long-term solution? I know it's only been 1 week, but that was the question that Mike posed to us. So I want to pose it to you.
You know what? I think it's still a little bit too early to tell that. In some ways, you have a quarterback like Jameis, right? And you sit here and you say, well, you kind of already know who he is. But I don't know about that anymore because, look, week 1, we had Geno Smith. And there are quarterbacks that do indeed have great second or third acts or need some sort of maturation or need the right fit or need a different perspective. I mean, heck, Joe Flacco is playing better these past 2 years than he did for several years prior to that when he was done being a full-time starter. So you never really know. It's interesting is we know the Browns thought highly of DTR, or Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So you'd almost, is this a chance for them to see what they actually really have in him? Or are they not really giving up on the year since the AFC is sort of so nutty? And do they believe that Jameis actually has kind of the higher ceiling at the moment or the greater potential at the moment for winning? And so do you ride that and see what you can do? Because you still have a great defense. You still have a great run game. Let's see what happens.
Aditi, I've heard a lot of people bring up Geno Smith and Sam Darnold when it comes to Jameis. I actually think the better comparisons are Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff, because Sam Darnold and Geno Smith were not good in their first go around. They stunk. Neither of those guys.
But where was their first go around? Where was their first go around?
With the Jets.
And what about Wilson out in Denver? Where was his first go around? I know that he's not playing right now, but I can tell you that Sean Payton is very bullish on him.
Right.
And so it kind of lemon thread here.
Wait, what? I don't get the Russell Wilson connection to the dude.
No,
Jets
Zach
guys.
Wilson. Sorry, Zach Wilson.
Oh, Zach. But we don't know
that. I
the
say a first name when I say Wilson.
Oh,
yes, I meant
okay.
Zach Wilson, who was on the Broncos roster, and who Sean Payton is very. You ever have a conversation and you say part of the conversation in your own head, and then you realize,
Gotcha.
yeah, I haven't actually said the whole thing.
Well,
it was in my own head.
We'll see about Zach Wilson. Obviously, he hasn't played, but
we will. But in my own head, the part that I didn't say out loud is that Sean Payton is very bullish on him too, and so there's something to be said for where you start and where your initial fit is. But yes, you're right. Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, these are guys that did actually have success in their first spots. I mean, Baker Mayfield won a playoff game. Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl with their first teams. But sometimes you need a better this. You need to grow up a certain way. Sometimes you need to be in a city that really embraces you and loves you and gets more out of you. So maybe that's right. Maybe that is what we're going to see from Jameis. I don't know. It's early. It's still one game in. But
it certainly is.
I can tell you this. He does everything the way you want a professional quarterback to do. I mean, I talked about this with Joel Bitonio 2 weeks ago, where Harry's saying, Jameis is he's taking care of his body. He's watching film. He's around his teammates. He's leaving late. And I know I've said this to you guys, or at least I think I've said this to you guys. Watching him on the sideline, he's a wonderful teammate. He's absolutely picking people up in everyone's ears, paying attention to the tablet, helping Dorian Thompson-Robinson, or when it was Deshaun Watson, what he's seeing. So he's got all of those traits. And I mean, he's the viral star of the National Football League.
Right.
So
that's right. And I think
I missed out on those interviews. My goodness.
That was wacky. But
those are ones where you just stick out the microphone and you get out of the way.
Say whatever you want.
Like, go ahead, do whatever you want.
Yeah, she handled it fine. The one thing I would say, Aditi, also, my comparison with Baker and Goff is part of the reason Baker was pushed out here and part of the reason Goff was pushed out with the Rams is that they were both extremely turnover prone. In fact, since 2018, they're Goff, at least coming into, at some point last year, I remember looking at it, they were 1-2 in turnovers since 2018. And Jameis Winston, same thing. He's been a huge turnover machine in his career. Now, Goff's gone to Detroit and hasn't turned the ball over. Baker, all of a sudden, the last 3 weeks, he's had 7 interceptions, which is terrible. But before that, he hadn't really been turning it over in Tampa. And now kind of you're looking for the same thing. If there's hope for long-term success with Jameis in Cleveland, it's not going to be about no turnovers. We understand that. Because he's a gunslinger type of quarterback. I get that. And the reason he had success is because he's not afraid to throw a pick like Deshaun Watson was. But the turnovers have to be cut down some from when he was playing in Tampa, and it was like 30 touchdowns, 30 turnovers. It's so if he can cut that down, yeah, he's still young enough and talented enough that maybe he could be, at least for a couple of years, a quarterback for the Browns or somebody else.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's part of what they saw in the upside in him, too, in bringing him in. I mean, the Browns knew better than anybody that you need a backup quarterback that you can count on. So, obviously, they believed in his talent and they did believe in his potential in this second act or in this later part of his career. So, let's see. I'm excited. I just thought that the offense looked functioning offense.
Yeah.
So, that's sort of fun.
Listen, I'm like you, Aditi. For me, I gave the analogy. Let's say you get out of a toxic relationship. You're like, man, listen, I just want to go on a regular date. Maybe I'll laugh and have a joke with an adult. We can go to a movie. We can have coffee. And I'm not looking to get married. I just want to. And then you realize that, hey,
I like that.
This is what having a sane person on the other side of me is like. This is cool. Maybe we'll go out on a second date. Maybe we won't. But it just reminded me what good fun looks like. And I think that's what the Browns look like. How did you think Kevin Stefanski looked in terms of not having a play calling? I thought he showed more energy in a lot of different things. I enjoy watching him coach other positions and do things on the sideline. How did you think it went?
You know what? I'm going to have to ask you. I'm going to have to answer this after this weekend because then I'll see it up close and I'll feel more comfortable making an assessment. I liked what I heard where people were saying that he was putting his head into other meeting rooms, that he was a little bit more involved than he had been. I've been saying this for years, right? Like, I wanted him to let Alex Van Pelt take over the play calling. And Kevin had been adamant that it was his favorite part of the job. It's what he loved to do. It's something that he thought he was really good at. But I've told you guys for years that I personally like the CEO model of a head coach, that the coach that can get into whatever room needs to be gotten into, can talk to whatever part of the team, any of the 3 units, be it defense, special teams, or offense, when necessary, the one that is available to whatever unit needs more of him. I like that model. Now, obviously, Kevin has felt that he wanted to hold on to the play calling. It's something that we see from a ton of head coaches in the NFL right now. I just, I shouldn't sit here and say, I know that it didn't work out for Ken Dorsey in Buffalo. A lot of that had to do with the way that they did not run the ball or stay committed to running the ball. But it's a second chance, And look, just this past week, I had the Patriots and the Jets, and I had such a great conversation with Todd Downing, who, of course, is calling the plays in New Jersey, about how he's approaching play calling so differently than he was the first time around. Now, granted, it's not working for the Jets right now, but a lot of things are not working for the Jets right now, not just Todd Downing. The point, though, is that you learn from your first experience. So while I did not feel as bullish about Ken Dorsey getting the play calling as I did Alex Van Pelt, maybe Ken Dorsey is a different play caller because of his experience in Buffalo, because of the ability to talk to his head coach, who is an offensive-minded head coach, as opposed to Buffalo. Who knows? So the hope is that Ken Dorsey is a better play caller here or in Cleveland than he was in Buffalo. And the second go round, he has learned, he's more experienced, whatever that can be. And maybe Kevin finds that, you know what, as much as he loved calling plays, he really loves being available to the whole entire team.
Aditi, it was interesting you brought up the run game because it made me think about Nick Chubb. And, I thought he looked a lot better in this second game. Obviously, the more he plays, the better he gets.
We'd expect that, yeah.
Yeah. And, if running the ball has been something that Ken Dorsey has struggled with, do you think at some point we see Nick Chubb have that breakout game, or do you think you just got to continue to roll with Jameis with the hot hand and the wide receivers?
I mean, you guys know how I feel about this. I don't know that this is what the Browns hierarchy feels. I believe that Nick Chubb is the best player. I believe that Nick Chubb, when healthy, is the best running back in the National Football League. I think that your offense needs to run through Nick Chubb. I think in the AFC North, there is a style of football that you need to play. And that involves running the ball. That involves taking it to teams. Now, I know that there is a school of thought that a 3-yard run is not an efficient play. I do not subscribe to that school of thought. I think that a 3-yard run in the first quarter has all the potential to be an 8 or a 12, or with Nick Chubb, a 52-yard run in the third and fourth quarter. I think there is a cumulative effect to running the ball. I think that you wear down defenses. I think that you eat clock. I think that there is a mentality and a statement made when you can run the ball on another team. So I do think that you need to run the ball. It's an attitude. I think it's an identity. I think it is, there's a reason that they say that you pass to score, you run to win, and that's how you close out games. And I think that by virtue of who Nick Chubb is, yes, of course we're going to see a breakout game at some point, but, I don't know. It's a mindset, and I don't know that philosophically the organization feels as strongly about running the ball as I do. Do I sound like I'm 80 years old when I talk about the run game?
You are so old school, man.
Yeah.
I'm a dinosaur. Let me tell you.
I honestly, as much as I am so against, you got to run to win and all that stuff, I agree with 95% of what you said. I don't agree that you have to win that way in the AFC North. I think it depends on the personnel you have. I know the Bengals aren't playing well either, but they can't win that way because of the personnel they have. They got to play the way they play. They just, unfortunately, have a terrible coach. And I know you yelled at me about that last week, but I stand by what I said. He's a terrible coach. If the Bengals had a good coach, they'd have. If Andy Reid was coaching the Bengals instead of Chiefs, they'd have 3 Super Bowls.
I mean, you could say that about Andy Reid in a lot of different places.
Fair, all right.
But look, the Bengals have always run the ball well. All those years with Joe Mixon, I mean, there was a very, very good marriage of pass and run there. It's not like you can only, run the empties all game long. You have to be able to run the ball in some way.
I hear you, but the only thing I'll say right now in Browns' defense of throwing the ball, because I do agree with you with the Browns. They need to be a running team with the way they're currently constituted.
You have to do both. Look, I'm not saying that you have to have 50 runs a game.
Of course. I understand what you're saying. They got to be a balanced team, a balanced team
right.
with a lean towards run. I just don't know if Nick Chubb is quite ready yet to be the full bell cow that he's always been, right? I think.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's
and you
it.
don't want to burn him out in any way. And I don't know if this would, like, I would love to see him have a breakout game this week because that's how much I love Nick
Sure.
Chubb. But I don't know that. I keep saying I don't know, but this is sort of like, you know what, guys, I learn so much when I see up close. So I sort of feel like I'm eager to see. I'm excited to see. I will tell you this. I found standing on the sideline 2 weeks ago or last week, whatever we want to call it, really maddening. I mean, beyond frustrating. I called Jason Lloyd and was just like, oh my God, that was the most frustrating thing to watch ever because the unforced errors, the sloppiness, the general functioning of the offense, it was insane. It's no wonder Kevin Stefanski looks like a president, like he's aged 10 years and 6 months. So I'm kind of excited to see how the offense functions now, and I hate to say, I don't even want to say it because it makes me feel bad, but like sometimes there is addition by subtraction, and sometimes certain things, when you're not so reliant on just one person and everyone kind of picks up a little bit, certain, things can just change.
When are you coming to Cleveland this weekend?
I'm actually not coming till Saturday. We're not meeting with the Browns in person on Friday since we literally just saw them.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha.
We will Zoom with them, which I get to go trick-or-treating with my children on Thursday.
Oh, that's
I'm
nice.
very excited about that. Yes, it is very nice. And
Is your son dressing up as Josh Allen for Halloween?
how'd you guess?